dharma is very important in our culture, even in our pursuit of kama, right? Pleasure or desire. And it's, in fact, pursuit of kama is even sanctioned and encouraged in our culture. So keeping that in mind, in your book, which is the subject of of our discussion today, you speak of pravriti and nivriti, and the need to harmonize the two. So, could you explain what they mean in the context of the love stories in your book?
Yes. So at one place in the book, I describe pravriti and nivriti as being like two wings of a bird. So just to start with what the terms mean. So in a very general sense, nivriti means turning away from the external world. So you can think of it as the path of the renunciate. Pravriti means being in the world, but ideally not of the world. So the classical example that's given is a lotus that grows in the mud but is untouched by the mud. So you're in samsara, you're living through samsara, but you're not being touched by it. And the basic idea was that both of those paths are valid, both lead towards a moksha, both are part of dharma. But to have an integrated worldview, so where both are kind of accepted and harmonized. So what I mean by that is you have examples of there's one of the stories in the book is about the Tripura Rahasya. In the Tripura Rahasya, which is it's a magnum opus, it's a text on Advaita Vedanta. This extended story is given about Hemachuda and Hemaleka. They're a married couple. Hemachuda is a prince. He falls in love with Hemaleka, who's the daughter of an Apsara and a Gandharva. And he's very in love with her. He's completely besotted with her. But he notices that she's not always reciprocating to the same extent. So he says, why is it that you are not, enjoying like our honeymoon period? We just got married. Like, why am I so much more, into this than you are? And she says, well, what is enjoyment? If you enjoy something, if you right now you're enjoying my beauty and youth, but then one day that'll pass. Then what'll you do? You'll find another desire to replace this. And she's kind of teaching him about vairagya or dispassion. And this long period begins where she actually teaches him, she becomes his guru and she enlightens him. It's not that they stay married, but now they're in enlightened, and the entire kingdom actually becomes enlightened by her and by them. So that's, again, this example that even when you're in samsara, even when you're married, you should always have this cognition that kama, when it's pursued, so in our four purushartha, which are the aims of human life, it's dharma, artha, kama, moksha, but dharma always comes first. And that means even when you're pursuing artha or wealth or kama, or which is kind of enjoyment, it's always in accordance with dharma. And so some of these stories are reminders of that. Then on the other hand, you have the story of Agastya and Lopamudra. So this comes to us from the Rig Veda, and then it comes again in the Mahabharata. And in that, Agastya Muni, he's a rishi, he's a renowned rishi, and he marries Lopamudra. There's a very interesting story behind that. And then Lopamudra feels, he's so focused on his austerities and his penance that she feels a little bit that you shouldn't forget about me. So then and she does this not in like a complaining way or something like that, but in this kind of very beautiful way. And she says, like husbands should also come to their wives. And in the Mahabharata, actually, there's a scene when Agastya Muni sees her after her bath, and he says, yes, it's time for us to be together. And then she says, no, but I want it to be beautiful. The bed should be decked with flowers. There should be some romantic aspects to it. And he agrees with that. And in the Rig Veda, it actually ends with an acknowledgement or this appreciation of him. He was able to focus both on his austerities and also his relationship with his wife. So in many different ways, you find it's not black and white, but this harmony and this kind of worldview that's similar in both pravriti and nivriti, even though they're applied or lived out in different ways. So in your there's the saying by Guru Rinpoche Padmasambhava from the Tibetan Buddhist tradition, and he's revered as the second Buddha. And he says, in action, and I'm going to just paraphrase, but in action, I'm as meticulous as the grains of sand, but my realization is as broad as the sky. Meaning, in our actions, we should be very particular and meticulous, but have a very broad worldview and vision of things. And I think that's what these stories in our texts really try to push us toward.
Please remember to subscribe to us and switch on the notifications for this channel. For our other social media links, more content, and to support our work, please visit citti.net. Dhanyavad. Namaskar.